Hi, welcome back to another episode of my A to Z stitch series. We've made an alpine bookmark and a bauble pouch, which both turned out so adorable. And this week is C for crunch. And drumroll please to find out the project. We're making a scrunchie. So first I'll give you a tutorial for the stitch in Scrunchie. Spoiler alert, it's more like an oversized bangle, but the stitch itself is so pretty and textured, so it's still worth it to learn the stitch. Just don't make the scrunchie. After the tutorial, I'll share some thoughts on the stitch itself and some probably better project ideas for it. But yeah, let's get into it. Grab your yarn, corresponding hook size, hair tie if you want, scissors, and a tapestry needle. Begin by making a slip knot, and our starting chain needs to be any even number plus 1 for our turning chain. So this is me trying to decide how wide my panel should be, but any even number plus 1. I ended up doing 16 plus 1, so make your chain and I'll meet you for the next steps. Alrighty, so we're going to be working into the back bumps to begin. So turn your chain around and we're going to make a half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. So skip the first and work a half double crochet into the second bump. And now work a slip stitch into the next stitch. And then repeat. Make a half double crochet, then a slip stitch. And just continue alternating the stitches until you reach the end, where your last one will be a slip stitch. Alrighty, so now chain 1 and turn your work. And we're just going to do the same thing. Work a half double crochet into the first stitch, then a slip stitch in the next, and keep repeating that all the way to the end. So that's it. You'll always chain 1 and turn your work, and then half double crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet, slip stitch all the way across. The rows will always start with a half double crochet and end with a slip stitch, and your slip stitches will always be worked into the stitch right above these little 3D loops popping out. So just keep repeating that row over and over again until you're happy with it. It's also super easy to count your rows using the little textured loops. Starting at the bottom, on one side they'll be at the very edge. Go to the other side and that's row 2. Now you can just count by 2 all the way up your project. And just like the bottom, the loops at the top will be at the very edge. And then when you're done, just chain 1 and fasten off. Easy peasy. And if for some reason you want to make the scrunchie, here's that part. I did about 65 rows. Fold the panel in half hot dog style and grab your hair tie and some stitch markers. Bring the back corner through the hair tie to meet the front and use a stitch marker to hold them together. Do the same on the other end. And then you'll just pull the hair tie down into the cave of the fabric, and we're just going to slip stitch it closed. So line it up and make sure everything's matching. And these are the 2 places that we'll be inserting our hook to work the stitches. In this little tiny hole, and then kind of in between these dashes. And you'll just do that all the way around. And then we'll slip stitch this last section closed. Line up the stitches, and we're going to be working into the back loop of the front edge and the front loop of the back edge. Do that all the way around and then work one more slip stitch into the first one to close it up. Okay, and so it was a major fail, but I'll keep it until the end of the series when I'll unravel it and maybe keep a section of it as a dish towel or a face scrubby or something like that. But let's get into the opinion section of the episode. How easy is it? Very. Easiest one so far, and I know I'll remember it for the rest of my life because it's that easy. Versatility, it's very textured, a little stiff, but very fun and different. I definitely use this for towels or scrubbies, like I said, maybe baby items like a bib or a lovey blanket just because it's so fun and textured. It could also be really cool for bags or pouches. I think it'd also be a great headband. And cuteness, super cute. I love a bit of texture, especially when it's such a mindless pattern to work on. And my last thing is reuse or retire. And I'm not opposed to reusing it, but I just don't really see it fitting in with any of my upcoming projects. But maybe people are going to be getting scrubbies for Christmas. And that was it. Sorry the scrunchie was a bust, but come back next week for D. Maybe cross your fingers and say a prayer that it isn't such a disaster. But I hope you enjoyed the video regardless. I really appreciate you watching, especially if you're still here now. Thank you, and as always, happy crocheting and stay lucky. Bye!